If there's one mystery in FNAF people have been wanting to solve, it would have to be, well, let's be honest, there's like 50 of them. But one mystery from the very beginning has been the identity of the phone guy. From the very first phone call, we've all wondered who this mysterious man could possibly be. Well, I think I figured it out. Now, if you're hoping for a definitive name, that's not going to happen. Scott has never really bothered to flesh out Phone Guy past his calls, but he's far more important than we once thought. Let's start by going over the appearances he's had throughout the series so far. Phone Guy as we know him appears primarily in the first 3 games. Within the original game, he appears as recorded messages that are essentially used as first week training tapes for the new night security guards. He goes over a few company policies and some tips for surviving the deadly situations that can happen in the location. In the second game, he actively calls the player, despite not being able to be replied to. He mainly gives small talk while slightly brushing over some of the animatronic behaviors and news from the previous day. Finally, in the third game, he appears as vintage audio cassette tapes that had been recorded for Freddy Fazbear's locations for the proper use of the spring-lock suits and status of the safe rooms. These ones have a more professional tone, feeling a bit more corporate. We shall begin by looking at the FNAF 3 tapes, being the earliest in the timeline. These tapes fully detail the proper handling of the 2 prototype spring-lock suits that were created by co-owner Henry. Actually, speaking of Henry, we heard his voice in Pizzeria Simulator.
You are not here to receive a gift, nor have you been called here by the individual you assume, although you have indeed been called.
But that definitely isn't his voice on the tapes. What about the other co-owner, William Afton?
She can dance. She can sing. She's equipped with a built-in helium tank for inflating balloons right at her fingertips.
No, definitely not his voice. So, why wouldn't the men who owned and created these highly experimental suits be the ones to detail their handling? Well, let's put a pin in that piece of information for now. Now comes the part we all dread. The timeline. Though I like to think outside of the box on this subject, let's use the widely accepted dates. FNAF 3 tapes were used during the time of Fredbear's Family Diner, and near the entrance of the new Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. So, around 1983. Cool. Now FNAF 2. Phone Guy is still actively part of the franchise by 1987, when that takes place. Finally, FNAF 1, which is constantly insisted to take place 1993. I disagree, but we'll get to the Flame Wars later. During recording those messages, Phone Guy would seemingly meet his demise, roughly making his time with Fazbear Entertainment roughly 8 to 10 years, depending on when he recorded those final messages. That's quite a long time to stay with a company littered with murders and controversy. I found this strange. Most employees would typically leave or request to be transferred to a day shift, as most wouldn't want to deal with things that happen around the location. Even its original owners abandoned it after a while, with William being arrested and going on to his own projects afterwards, and Henry leaving to not be traceable. Without them, every decision is on Fazbear Entertainment. That's when it hit me. The company. The people who need to stay with the company and keep it profitable. Then one final detail blew everything wide open. This paper that reads, "These characters will live on in the hearts of kids." Where have I heard something like that before?
So remember, these characters hold a special place in the hearts of children, and we need to show them a little respect.
And who is quoted on this paper? The CEO of Fazbear Entertainment. Crazy stretch, right? Well, let's think about it logically. Remember that pin we had? Let's bring it back. When a message to a business is made, typically the word would come from someone of authority. Hence why Phone Guy be the one to detail the usage of the suits, as he's a voice the employees would know and trust. And from data I saw from the most reputable source, CEOs will typically stay with the company about 7 to 10 years before stepping down. The same amount of time Phone Guy worked before he was finishing up his last week. With the original owners gone and the employment rates lowering, Phone Guy had to do what he could to try salvaging the company until he could step down. But his end would come in a scream. He would be too important to the company to be able to leave. This is why he's energized and corporate in the tapes, but by FNAF 1 he seems tired and ready to be rid of his position within the company. So, what do you think? Could the phone guy be the original CEO of Fazbear Entertainment? Was it his fault everything in this franchise happened? Let me hear your thoughts in the comments below. I love hearing your takes. With that, I'm off. Thanks for listening to my mad ramblings.